Okay, quick update on the Kubota wiring. The wiring is getting there. I had a little bit of a mess up with a chassis and a harness ground, but that has since been solved. Now, I'm grounding both the harness, which is this wire right here, and the chassis, which is this wire going here up to the battery, right to here. This battery will probably not be the one being used. It's just a little bit too small. So anyways, only wires that are coming out at this side now are the headlights, which is right here, the oil pressure sender unit right there, and like I said, the harness ground. So these all get tucked in behind the oil filter, and everything's out of the way, away from anything moving. This side over here is where it gets a little more complicated. Here is my relay. I'm thinking this is where it's going to live, since it's nice and close to my Molex connector. I did receive my Molex connector for the harness side, so it's a matter of getting that wired in. This here is my key on power source. This is going to do two things. This is going to provide power for the carburetor solenoid. It's also going to provide the shutoff to the relay. So this will have to get merged into two wires, most likely into the Molex connector for the carb solenoid. Then it's going to come out of the Molex connector and go to the relay. Then the relay, from the relay, is going to go back to the Molex connector for the kill wire, which is this wire right here on the engine. So I'd rather keep everything in this area here, and it keeps it out of the way. Also, this relay does need ground. It actually needs two grounds, which are these two wires here, which will most likely be grounded to this point right here. Just keep everything in this area. I do have a wire wrap, so I can get everything wrapped up and it will all be protected. On the harness side, the other two wires is my start wire, so that will have to go straight to the starter solenoid. The starter solenoid I'm using also has a ground, so most likely it will share the ground with the relay. Easier to, instead of having to run a separate ground to running a ground to the other side. Keep these grounds on this side. The other wire is my harness hot. This will go straight to the battery side of my solenoid. Also, this is going to take care of the charging circuit as well. So the charging wire is, I believe, this red wire, this reddish pink wire right here. So that there will come back out and will go back in to where this wire right here hooks up. So as long as it goes back into the battery, which this obviously will go to the battery, this will go to the battery that has a diode on it up there. Everything should work out perfectly fine. This here is the kill wire. As you can see, it's actually on these Vanguards, it's actually clipped on, which is an okay setup, because there's actually a little diode in here that controls each coil. It commonly goes bad. I've actually fought with somebody on YouTube about that diode, and I was right in the end. And this wire here is the carburetor solenoid. So that, like I said, this yellow wire will have to do double duty. It will go up into the carburetor solenoid, and then it will come back out and go to the relay. So I'm trying to keep everything as less complicated as possible. So if you want to go take this engine out, really all you have to do is unhook the relay here. It will stay with the harness, or just unhook the harness right here, and everything will come out, and if this engine ever has to come out in the future. That's also why I'm using the Molex connector. If this engine has to come out in the future and you want to put a different engine back in, really you just have to use a 6-pin Molex, and this matches up with just about all Briggs & Stratton engines that use this style. These are actually really nice connectors, so I'm happy they went to this style. It makes it so much easier to wire these up and to actually do engine swaps, to do everything on these. So let's do a quick demonstration. I will hook up the power with just the red wire. Obviously, I don't have any of the higher voltage wires in yet. As you can see, got two lights, battery, and oil pressure, so we are good to go. I've also tested the starting circuit. The starting circuit's working. This here is a little bit loose just because there's no deck to hold the cable down. But that is pretty much it. So next step is I gotta put a zip tie back down in there to help hold the harness in place. I gotta do some grounds on this side over here, but the weather's going to start turning on me, so I am done for today. Lastly, on this, I'm still waiting on the crank bolt. It's actually in Stony Creek, which isn't too far from here, but it's been there since last Saturday, so it's been there a week, and it's kind of pissing me off. It's also pissing off the seller as well, who sold it to me. This should have been here by now. Common sense says it should have been here by now. So I'm waiting on that, but I'm still trying to plug away at a few little things on this to try and get it done. Next is to get the fuel system done and the throttle cable as well. It's going to have a separate choke. That's going to be easy. I looked at the other Cub Cadet at the property I go to. He has an identical machine, and it actually has a separate choke, and it comes in right here. So that's where I'm going to put my choke, right there as well. So it make it a little bit easier. That machine has a single cylinder Kawasaki. It's kind of weird how it has a separate choke. I don't know, it just seems kind of weird to me. And this machine here had a V-twin, and it had a single. But yeah. Also, lastly, the cable. I will have to do my trick on to adapt this to make it work on the throttle body. But that's pretty much it for this. So I'll talk to them later. Please keep it redneck like always, and please subscribe and comment. And hopefully you follow along to what I'm talking about on this project. And if you are doing a project like this in your own garage or your own backyard, it gives you some ideas on what to do. Also, if you need a link for the relay, please feel free to ask. Bye for now.